Hello everyone, I'm going to show you one of the workflows I use to create my mockups for film scoring and video games, where I jump between my DAW and my notation software. So let's begin. Okay, today I want to show you one of the workflows I do for my mockups and scores. Sometimes I feel the need of creating and writing those certain orchestral passages or certain things in the notation software. And I'm going to show you is how I do that by keeping in sync my DAW and my notation software. So I use Nuendo as my DAW and I use Dorico as my notation software. And this is what we're going to use today. But the whole idea of this is for you to be able to do certain things back in the DAW when you feel more comfortable writing for an orchestra or for whatever it is that you needed to write there firstly, or at certain point of your mockup, send those files over there so that you can do the writing in there and then the programming in the DAW, or even like in this case that you can export everything directly from from Dorico in this case and use it basically directly into the DAW. So let's begin. Okay, so this is my DAW. I use Nuendo, as I said. This is my template in a way. And what you have, what you are watching or looking at is my sketch. What I did is I took a whole strings ensemble patch just to sketch all the groove and feel that of the strings that I wanted. And as you can see, I have everything written in here. All I have is these strings. I have a violins here, violins in here. I don't know, the basses and the cellos in here because I have a melodic line in there. I have a certain bits of percussion and a small keyboard in here. This is just my mockup. What I did firstly is I planned on the tempo, obviously, and then I did a couple of quick micro transitions in here to match the video cut, and I place my markers where I need them and all those information in there, and this is what I came up with. So as you can see, all I have in here is my chords. I actually made a chord track that helps me to keep what chord I'm writing at certain points. Obviously, that will change accordingly with the melodic changes and things that I may do. But I have my chords, and then I go. This is the keyboard that I mentioned. I'm going to jump to the percussions. Change my window. This is my second part with the metric change, and you know, it grows and grows, and I did all of that is kind of my mockup. What I will normally do is start, orchestrating here, but in this case I want to do this in my notation software, which is Dorico. So I'm going to export this to Dorico, and what I will obviously do is just export quickly and easily a MIDI file that this is my prior export, and I keep trying making a difference between the naming of the MIDI files that I use, that I export from Dorico, because I will also create MIDI files from Dorico. So in this case, it will be the same name, just BR2, and I will export this and go back to Dorico and use it. So let's go to Dorico. Okay, this is my Dorico template. This is the score already done. And what I want to show you is how I get to this. And basically all I do is go to my preferences and import the MIDI file that I just exported. And it asks me, what do I want to import of here, of that file? Everything I want. So all I have to do is say okay, and he will create a new flow for me, which is basically a new page or a new score in here. And if I make a close-up to it, a closer look at it, all I have is what I actually had selected for me to export from Nuendo, which was my strings, my cellos, my very little percussion that I had. Okay. So what I basically do in this case is obviously is just select everything that I have in here and copy paste it into my template. And when I do or start orchestrating from here, one of the things that I can do with Dorico when I import this is to import everything into my template, which will be something like, let me see, let me show you how I do this. Import MIDI. And let's say I want to import this one, and he asks me if I want the destination to be a new flow, but in this case I wanted it to be the case chord, which is the one I want, and I let him know that I want to use the existing files. If there's something different, then I can change that. But that's how I do it, and in that, when I do that, all the MIDI tempo changes and everything is in here. As you can see, we have a metric change in here, and we also have a tempo change. And everything that happens in the MIDI file that I have on my DAW is in here. And all I did in this case was to import everything here. And then I will probably just, paste everything here. And then I will have all my scoring here, and I put my chords, and I do what, distribute everything from here to my software. As you can see, I have my 2 bars as I do on my DAW, and I have the score reading here. Let me play it for you. So I have made already my harmonies and whatever I want. I will be doing quick jumps. I can go here, and then it goes the keyword that I had. And here, the change to percussions. We have horns in that section. The pause of this track, and part that I needed, and the whole arrangement over there. Okay. And if I go back to Nuendo, this already sounds like music. If I go back to Nuendo and play the mockup, it doesn't really make justice to the arrangement. So this is already well better and nicer. So all I want to do in this case, once I do my arrangement and indeed everything, I have some flutes over here. Let me show you. And some woodwinds coming up again. One of the good things that I can do with Dorico is the fact that I have the 2 flows. So if I wrote something on my sketch in Nuendo, is here in this new flow or part, if you will, and I have this tutti here. So as you can hear, it does all the crescendos and all the things that I want to hear. So since it's very accurate, I really like it, and I want to export this to Nuendo. What I'm going to do is export my MIDI file that's the one I want, and I will say okay. I will say yeah, override, that's okay. And what I'm going to do now is export the audio files. And this is something that I really like to do with one of the advantages of working with Notion is the fact that I can use Notion playback engines. And this takes a whole lot of time to load, and I will show you later how it works, but I basically can use any of these orchestras in here to do the playback. So what Notion does is basically to be a VST player with AI. And what I mean by that is the fact that he makes decisions of how the playback should be to make it sound more human. And when you use the playback engines, you're telling Notion to do that with with the library selected. So it will use my uh, my BBC Spitfire library or my orchestral tools library or whatever I would decided, and I can even create mixes of what I want to do in there, and whatever, and then he will do all this AI, which be like a bit of AI programming to create the audio files. And then when I export that, it will be with those with that quality of sound. And that's what I'm about to do. Okay, but that's what I'm going to do right now is just export it with the basic Notion audio files to show you how to do this. The Notion thing with the Notion playbacks that we can do in another tutorial. But in this case, I will export all these files and then go back to Nuendo so that I can show you. Okay, and display export, and see you in a little bit because this is lengthy. Okay, so let's go back to Nuendo and we'll see how this works. Okay, so we're back in Nuendo, and what I'm going to do is to import that MIDI file that we just created. And I say that I don't want a new session. I wanted to import it as we are. So we go here, and this is my MIDI, and I import that. And you will notice that since I had the 2 bars in here, and I did that in my score because I imported it as it was, and everything kept all the MIDI tempo changes and things, everything will be already in sync. One of the things that I will explain you while it's loading is, as you can see here, I have 2 videos, and one of them has a different ending. And the reason is because when I started the score, the ending was not resolved yet. So if you see my mockup versus the MIDI that I just imported is longer because I got the video with the final ending while I was doing the work already in Dorico. So I finished the ending of the mockup. I didn't do the mockup. I finished the score in Dorico. And that's why there's a length difference in those 2 ending parts. So what I'm doing here is I got all these files that come from Dorico, as you can see, all set up as I want. So the first thing I want to do is put this all in a folder, and I will call this Dorico MIDI so that I can understand what it is, and remove this sampler from here. And I got all these files in here. So I will close this basically and go back to my folder exports of Dorico, and I have it here where I have all my audio from this session that I did in Dorico, and I will bring all of this into Nuendo, and I put it right here, different tracks, and he will place all those files in here, as you can see. So all I want to do again is put all of this in a folder so that I can tell what it is and use it accordingly. Dorico audio. And I can close this file. And all I want to do now is route all of this to one of my buses. I just did that. All is going out. Let me show you here through my orchestral stem. And one goes this and just solo this. And as you can see, I have a orchestral stem, which is the only thing that we're hearing right now. A small reverb in here, I sent it to that reverb. And as you can hear, let me play it for you. Okay, there he goes. Can make it a bit louder, but I'm gonna do it by bringing it here. And it's already sounding wonderfully. Okay, all I did is when I exported it out from Dorico, I took the river out of it so that I can mix it in here, not in there. And as you can see, this is just a broad paint brush of river, no EQ, no nothing, and it already sounds perfectly good. I'm going to move it forward so that I can hear the different parts. And this is the Dorico exported files. No mixing, no levels, no nothing. This is just the raw file I have it here, as you can see, as I just imported it. And this is already sounding super better than my orchestral mockup. Not the mockup, my sketch. And this will be even better if I would have used the Notion playback engines, because that will be the sound of my orchestral tools or my Spitfire library throughout the AI of Notion performance player, and that audio will be here. So what I'm going to do now, what I will do now in real scenarios, is to send all of these files to my correspondent sections. So I have all my woodwinds, and I can select all of this and put it in my woodwinds folder. Then all my brass to my brass folder, all my percussions to my percussions, keyboards and mallets and guitars and stuff. I will accordingly put those where it goes. And I have this called strings to my strings. I didn't put well. Let me put it where it is. So I have all this MIDI now accordingly in their corresponding folders, so that I can start doing programming on it. Okay. And what I will do is use this Dorico audio files as a layer. And when I do it with no performer playback engines, I can probably use it as it is. And as it is right now with just the Dorico sound, which is amazing, it will work for me for a layer, as a layer for a scoring, I don't know, if I have a rock song that I have a small strings on the back, this will be good enough probably. But if I want to do the whole programming thing, I have it in here, so I can disregard what I had in here, which is my mockup, and start using these files and programming those files with my VSTs and my programs and doing faders and stuff, and leave it in creating something very beautiful with it and very quickly with it, because all the MIDI is already done and thought of. Because when I do this in here, I kind of play with the thing, and I move my faders as I play them, but in here is more formal. I took care of a lot of things in a more classical way, for a saying. So the ending result of this project I did with a playback engine. I want to play it for you. I have it right here because it sounds amazing. I think just coming out of the Dorico with the Notion playback engine, and I have it right here. Let me play it for you. As you can hear, it sounds like amazing. Let me jump a little bit in parts. See? This is way much better So it's very good sounding export from Dorico that you can layer in and program if you want as you want. So this is it. I'm gonna play the track for you so that you can actually listen the full thing as it ended up being, which is this track right here. Okay, let's hear it. And as you can see, this is the way I tackle this um, way of doing things, which is very helpful in when I need to make things quickly and very formal in a way. When I rather write like seeing the notes and seeing the paper and it helps me write in a certain way, which is kind of more classical way for putting a word on it, to put a word on it. But it's quick and it's easy, and as you can hear, the results are very, very good. It actually sounds very natural just for being audio coming out of the DAW, out of Dorico. And especially in cases when I'm using like a pop track or like a rock song or whatever, and all I need is a background layer of it, and I can do this very quickly in the program, and at the end is already scored, so I'll have to do some tweaks to the players if I want to record this. If I want to show a very drafty mock-up to a client, I can do that with this, and it sounds pretty good. And you can take it obviously as far as you want, and all the notes are in there. So all you have to do is the bit of programming accordingly to your template with key switches or MIDI tracks or however you want to do it, and you will take this to another level. And even use these tracks as secondary layers to generate a different texture or whatever. Very important. All I exported it as I think I mentioned it, but I just wanted to mention it again. I exported it all from Dorico without reverb so that I can mix it in here. But as from my point of view, it's a very useful tool to have my DAW sync to my notation, because if I do everything in here, I want to do a change or I want to change something, I can always go back to my score, do the changes, because I don't, whatever I want to do, change a section or whatever, and then bring up the MIDI and finish up my mockup. So everything will be very speed up and easy to do, and able to mix the process where we score everything within the DAW, and the fact that I can use the notation software in there and have all these interpretations that the Dorico actually does, and makes it easier for me to work with. So hopefully this was helpful for you. You can probably apply this to your projects, and I promise to do the playback engines tutorial later in another video, so you can actually we'll do it with this score, so you can hear the difference of how it sounds when we do it with those. So see you on the next one. You can reach us out. We are always available on our Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channels. Feel free to write. I try to answer every message that I get, and see you on the next one.